Hey guys, Barry Bazaar here. In this video, what I want to do is I want to go over the 3 biggest mistakes that I see people do when they're making a French press. I've been getting questions in my Facebook group of my members saying, Barry, I just got my French press. I'm ready to make amazing coffee at home, but you know what? It's not tasting right. My coffee is too bitter, or I'm not getting all of those flavors that I should be getting. What am I doing wrong? Well, guys, I just want to go over just the 3 things that I see most people make. Actually, I'm actually making some coffee. I made myself a French press. Actually, what I'm having right now is it's 3 Ships Coffee. It's based out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. These guys are amazing. What I'm trying right now is their Finca El Carpintero. I think I said that right, but it's a Guatemalan coffee. Excellent stuff, but these guys are great. But this is kind of what I'm having right now. It looks so good. And I just got off from work. If you guys don't know this, I actually manage a Starbucks in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been working there for 5 years. I've served thousands of cups of coffee, and I made hundreds of French presses. And so I kind of know what mistakes people are doing, because not only in my Facebook group people are asking me questions of what they're getting wrong, but I've had customers come up to me and tell me, Barry, I love it when you do a French press in the store, but I'm not getting that same result at home. So let me take a sip right here. Oh man, that's amazing. It's so good. But the number one thing, so this is number one. The number one thing is, if you're making a French press at home and it doesn't taste right, odds are there's something wrong with your coffee. Now, I don't want to tell you that you're trying bad coffee. If you like a certain brand, that's your preference. But the big thing that I see is a lot of people, they'll get ground coffee. They'll buy from the store, it's already pre-ground, and they'll put it in their French press. You don't want that. It's very, very important to buy, whole bean coffee. And as you can see, I have it stored right here in my cabinet. You want to make sure that you store your beans in a dark place. So you want to use whole bean coffee, okay? And the reason why we want to use whole bean is because all the flavors, all the oils that make up the flavors in those beans, they're going to last a lot longer when they're inside the bean. Also, with pre-ground coffee, as soon as you open that can, that coffee's been exposed to oxygen. Oxidation, it's prone to oxidation. Oxygen really kills the freshness of your coffee. So you want to keep your coffee as fresh as possible and for as long as possible. Okay, I highly recommend buying coffee that's been freshly roasted, and you want to drink it about 3 to 5 days from when it's been roasted. Keep it in an airtight container like I have right there, so you keep it fresh. So fresh coffee is very, very important. The second thing is you want to grind it. Like I said, you want to grind it before you make your coffee, okay? And there's 2 types of grinders out there. There's blade and there's a burr grinder. I highly recommend buying a burr grinder, okay? This is the Compresso Infinity, okay? You want to make sure that you have a burr grinder and you set it on a coarse grind, okay? The coarse grind is very important because you don't want to over extract your coffee. And you want your coffee to be coarse, because if it's too fine, the little plunger in here, that strainer that separates the coffee, you're going to get a lot of grinds, a lot of grit in your coffee, and it's not going to taste that good. You're just going to be drinking coffee grounds. So that's why it's important to have a coarse grind. Not only you wanted a coarse grind, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're using the right proportions. Now, I have an 8-cup French press, okay? What I use is, they have a spoodle, all right? This is about 2 tablespoons or 10 grams. For an 8-cup French press, you want to make sure that you're using 5 scoops, okay, or 50 grams of coarse ground coffee, all right? So you just take 50 scoops, 5 scoops out of the bag. You want to put it in your grinder, grind it fresh right there. That's step number one, okay? But that's the biggest thing. Freshly ground coffee, make sure you're using the right amount of coffee. If it's too little, you're gonna have something that's watery. If you're using too much coffee, you're gonna get something bitter. So that is the number one thing that I see, or that's probably the number one problem that's most likely going on if your French press tastes off. The second thing is water. You wanna have good, clean, fresh water, and you want to make sure your water's at the right temperature. Now, when I make a French press at home, I've got this Aroma electric kettle, okay? I heat this thing up. You know, this will heat your water up to a boil, okay? You want to make sure that your water is around 200 degrees. Now, if you just put, a lot of people, what they do is they'll boil water and they'll just put boiling water in their French press. You don't want to do that because that is above the temperature that you need. Typically, you want your water temperature between 195 and 204. I think the sweet spot is around 200 degrees. So when I'm making a French press, I have this thermometer right here. I put this in my, after my kettle is done boiling water, I just put this thermometer in here and wait till it gets to 200 degrees. So there's other kettles that you can buy. You don't have to buy this one. This is this is like 10, 20 bucks, but this works for me. And I have this thermometer just to make sure that I'm at 200 degrees before pouring. So water temperature is important. Make sure you're using clean water. Okay, but that is a big factor. 200 degrees is your sweet spot. And then what we want to do is we're going to put this hot water, we're going to put it in the French press. We're going to fill it up to pretty much about here. You're going to put our cover on with the plunger facing, the plunger up, and then you're going to brew it. The third biggest mistake that I see people make is they over brew their coffee. Now with a French press like this, an 8-cup French press, you want to make sure you're only brewing your coffee for 4 minutes. Nothing under. If it's under, you're going to get something watery. If you brew it longer than 4 minutes, you're going to get something so bitter that it's just not going to taste good. So to help you out with that, I have my iPad. I just make sure that when I'm brewing my coffee, I just set it for 4 minutes. I have a little timer on here. Set it for 4 minutes. If you don't have you don't need an iPad. Like if you got your microwave, anything. Just make sure you got some sort of timer and you brew it for 4 minutes. Okay. And actually, those are pretty much the three biggest mistakes that I see people make. So to sum this video up, number one, you want to make sure you're using fresh coffee. Fresh whole bean coffee. Grind it fresh before you make your French press, all right? Make sure that you're using 50 grams for an 8-cup French press. Make sure your coffee proportions are correct. Make sure that your water temperature is at 200 degrees. And you want to make sure that you're brewing your French press for 4 minutes, okay? So do all those things. It's really simple, but the thing is, like, this is what happens. This is why your French press tastes a little off. But I want you guys to have an amazing coffee experience at home. So just do those three little things. If you like this video, please, give me a comment. Send me some love. If you want some more coffee tastings and tips, I've got a free Facebook group on Facebook. That's going to be in the link below this video. Check that out. Also, like I said, check 3 Ships out. If you're interested about this coffee, there's another link to 3 Ships. I highly recommend them. They're out of Virginia Beach. Definitely check that out. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna just enjoy the rest of this, and but you guys have a good day, and take it easy.